Very good afternoon to you. It's Jim from maverickstar. I'm going to give you a heads up here. I am going to sell the living daylights out of this observatory to you guys because I want you to appreciate what it is that we are actually doing here at the observatory and how unique it is. So just taking one of the pages on our website, Earth Health at a Glance, we had all the equipment out this morning, we took the readings, and you will not find a comprehensive list like this that you're looking at, that we're going to go through, anywhere else in the entire world. I'm not joking. Just look at what we cover. Atmospheric CO2. With our own detector, we measure the atmospheric CO2, atmospheric oxygen, using the state-of-the-art, latest technology in atmospheric sensing. We have our own atmospheric oxygen sensor. There is the magnetic North Pole positioning, and that has come to you only because we have the only trimag system in the entire world, ground-based magnetic North Pole tracking system, specifically built, bespoke, to track the magnetic North Pole. 2 years in development, and we've got that. Then we've got the radiation background count, which is, we use an ordinary radiation detector which measures gamma, beta, and the other one loses my mind, but it measures all three. Then we have volcanoes in eruption, and this information, along with the earthquakes, the latest earthquake, is up to date on the day we do the Earth Health at a Glance. As you can see, on average 29 volcanoes currently in eruption, and we've got the latest earthquake in the last 24 hours, measuring 6.0, 38 kilometers northeast of Tennant, Indonesia. Then we've got muons in the UK. We built our own muon detectors using the latest silicon photo multiplier, courtesy of MIT in America, sharing the blueprints to make them and the list of components. We went out there and we brought them, and we also have 515 muons per square meter per hour currently here in the UK. And in Canada we have another muon detector with Kendall, and it's crazy because some people say, oh, Kendall doesn't exist, Jeff in Perth don't exist, Scott in Arizona don't exist. Trust me, these guys are real, they do exist. Yes, sometimes there's a delay in the the sending of the data from Perth. It's been a while. We don't know if that station is currently active down there in Perth. We hope so, and we hope that we will get bulk data from them at some point. But if we don't, we are going to send out another magnetometer to Australia, because we're interested in that magnetic plume that is moving towards the south coast of Australia. So moving on, we've got sunspot numbers, and of course we should be interested in that, because if we're interested in the business of grand solar minimums, we should be interested in how many sunspots are being developed regularly on the sun's surface, because that is what inflates our heliosphere, that protects our solar system from inbound cosmic radiation. When there's low solar output with regards to sunspots, the heliosphere shrinks, more inbound cosmic rays comes into our solar system. Big issue with this is that with a weakened magnetosphere currently, because of the Earth going through a magnetic reversal, that means we're getting more inbound cosmic radiation into our upper atmosphere, and that is conjoining with the jet streams, making them larger, wider, super jet streams forming, and then we get fragmentation over the polar region, jet streams mixing with the subtropical, and of course that new anomaly that we've been observing over the last couple of years, where we get interchange over the equatorial region of our planet between the two subtropical regions of the jet streams. So things are gradually changing on our planet, and we are monitoring them all. Then we've got solar X-rays, which are currently normal, and we have geomagnetic field, which is quiet at the moment. And of course our jet streams are unstable. This is a comprehensive list you won't get anywhere else on the planet from any other organisation. not only will you not get this list of information as it is displayed right in front of you in a very, very simple format so that you can look at it and see the readings, you can also compare it over the time period that we've been doing it. So there is a complete archive on our website of all these anomalies if you're concerned about them. Now, you won't get this information anywhere else, and people don't like it on YouTube. Other channels don't like it. I won't mention names, but I've been badmouthed again. I can't believe it, by someone I even considered was a friend. Talks a lot about permaculture. Let me tell you something about permaculture. If commercial farmers used permaculture in their production of crops, they would not be any food on your shelves in the shops tomorrow. It is not agricultural productive to go down the route on a commercial scale using permaculture, because you just simply wouldn't have the abundance of crops and people would be dying of starvation right now. Permaculture in your own back garden is fine if you want to spend hours and hours searching for your vegetables and your crops because you've mixed all sorts of species in there, or they've naturally formed in there. Go ahead. But you know what we've learned in agriculture over the years is to get rid of everything else and just grow the crop which is necessarily needed. So I'm not a big fan of permaculture regardless. I'm a big fan of obviously looking after soils, and I was offered a job with a company, not Nitroram, another company like that, from thoroughbred stables here in the UK at the agricultural centre, you know, selling products like nitrates and things like that, fertilisers, for that company. And of course I had a lot of knowledge in how important it is to protect the microorganisms within the soil, because the soil is key, and the nutrients within the soil is key to, you know, the production of whatever chosen crop you want. So I've got a lot of vast knowledge in that, and I know what I'm talking about when I'm talking about permaculture not being agricultural productive on a commercial scale, because I talk to farmers as well. I live in a rural area and I talk to farmers, and they said they would never be able to use permaculture. Some of them had never even heard of permaculture. There are some issues that we're facing right now, guys, with our agricultural methods, and that is because we're forcing the fields, we're forcing them to produce the crops year in, year out, and that means we have to add chemicals. Whereas, you know, the old-fashioned method, we would, you know, have a rotation where we would leave the field naturally with meadow grass and other things like that, which would naturally fix the nitrates in the soil, or, you know, the desired chemicals that you would want for those crops. You would naturally let it ease up for a year, but, you know, with the pressures and demand for year in, year out, you know, producing crops, they have to start adding the chemicals in there, unfortunately, to get the crops back out. If they weren't using these methods, guys, you'd have no food in the shops. We would never be able to sustain 8 billion people in this world. The big issue is, and I don't want to get away from it, is that this observatory is the only observatory with that list of equipment and monitoring that list of anomalies. You won't get it anywhere else, and it's all archived. We have our own magnetometers, oxygen sensors, CO2 sensors, muon detectors. We have our own Trimag system, radiation equipment, you name it, we've got it. And that's why we're hated on the internet and on YouTube by other people, because they have to rely on sources from these mainstream organisations for their information rather than collect it themselves. That's the difference between maverickstar Observatory and Average Joe on the YouTube channel, just going about regurgitating all the other organisations' findings and facts. In a nutshell, that's maverickstar Observatory, and you don't want to let this go. At any cost, you want to keep it, because when it's gone, it's gone. And I don't want to sell us out to a corporation. I don't want corporations telling me how to run our observatory and who can get access to this information, because I've been at this for 11 years and I've kept it pretty much free for anyone that couldn't afford it. You know, honestly, I've kept it free to this point. I do not want to go down that road. I want to keep this observatory running the way it is. I want to extend the equipment that we've got out in the field around the world, and I want to make this observatory a lot more bigger and a lot more professional. It's just me on my own, and it's a struggle to keep things going like I have done to this point. You know, I would love to raise enough money to start employing people to help me improve some of the equipment that we've got. You know, make a Mark II version maybe of the Trimag system, where and it's possible, and I could do it, but I just don't have all that time to do it. I would like to make it a live feed onto the website. You know, it's absolutely doable. A live feed onto the website where the information is collected from the master and then transmitted to the router in my home, and then that information is broadcasted on our website live as it happens. You imagine that, every 3 seconds data going up onto the website, and you get to see it live. That means I don't have to do a magnetic North Pole position. You can come and see where the position is yourself. We could even get people to put a map up on the website, and as it moves gradually, so that pin on the map moves and you can see it live. You know, this technology exists and the capability exists. It just requires endless amounts of time of programming. You know, it makes it almost impossible for me to do at this moment. But, you know, look where we've got in the 11 years of research, last 5 years of actually collecting data. And we have made, you know, a lot of people envy of us because we are special. Our observatory is special. Our equipment is very specialised, and people recognise that we are putting a scientific effort into this, using scientific methods by using equipment to collect the data, not just going onto websites regurgitating the data and talking about weather events. We're actually collecting the stuff. You know, we are unique. And guys, I hope I've sold my observatory and your observatory to you guys, and hopefully encourage a few more people to support it. Even in these difficult times, it is important that we don't lose our grips on getting access to this information. We're not regulated, and for that reason alone should be enough to make you want to support what we do. So guys, this is the Earth Health at a glance, and it's just one of the things that we do at the observatory. I hope I've encouraged you and I've sold the observatory to you enough to the point where you are going to take out a few minutes of your time right now, fill out that form on PayPal or on Patreon, and become a supporter. Guys, the only other thing for me to say is what I usually say, is take care of your loved ones. And as always, bye for now.